cut for our league challenge. Welcome back to Psycho Turtle in Pico Rivera, California. I'm Dennis Geisler. The Mimikyu plushie came to life.
Yeah, Dennis wished really, really hard for a commentator, and I turned into a real boy. Somehow coincidentally named Ryan Wayne.
Ryan Wayne with me on this after going 2-2 in the tournament today. And we have our first game of Top Cut between Arnie Wolf and Benny Vasquez.
Yes. We have seen Arnie on the stream today. As a friendly reminder, he is rocking Golden Go, Calyrex Ice Rider, Amoonguss, Ogerpon Cornerstone, Urshifu Single Strike, and Iron Hands.
Yeah, the only one not running Zamazenta in top 4. Benny running the Chenpao, Fluttermane, Ogerpon Hearthflame, Pelipper, Rillaboom, and that Zamazenta. It is the Iron Defense variant of Zamazenta. We've seen a lot of Wide Guard today, but...
Yes.
I mean, the Wide Guard would be useful to a degree against the Cali Ice, but not against the other Zamazentas.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it's like, it's so type dependent on different stuff. Like, I know personally, like, back when grass was a lot more common, it was like either grass or it was typically like grass. I know like dragon is another popular one right now in case, because fire is so, especially like if you have a Torkoal or a Chi-Yu, that is a big obstacle that Zamazenta has to overcome. But thankfully Benny does have that Pelipper to mitigate some of that damage. Yeah,
and not only that, but Pelipper also has the Wide Guard if you do need the Wide Guard for anything in this set. So you have that value as well, although you have to watch out with Pelipper. That Pelipper does have that anti-synergy with the Ogerpon Hearthflame. We've seen it a little bit before. Hearthflame does have just a lot of benefits in general, and it means that you're always a little dangerous, even if either you bring the Pelipper and you don't bring the Hearthflame, or you bring the Hearthflame in the back, or you just use the Hearthflame as like a follow me bot. There are a lot of different options with it, but it's always something to keep in mind when you're losing so much of your damage.
Very much so, yeah. Alright, we're going to see the Zamazenta on Fluttermane on Benny's side, and the Amoonguss and Calyrex.
You haven't seen a lot of... Fluttermane really fell off in Regulation G.
It very much did. It was like, used to be on like pretty much everyone's team, and now we see it here and there, which I think is a good thing because it opens different options for people, but I think Fluttermane is still like a pretty solid option to a lot of, especially I think the introduction of Cali Shadow Rider really did it in a little bit, because then it's like, oh, if you need like a strong ghost Pokemon that can also function as a fairy type, they could do that.
But what this is also just gives you a very, very fast taunt. And you'll see the Rage Powder here. If it is taunt, then it'll get redirected into that, which is still valuable.
Very much so.
I would have preferred the taunt into the Calyrex if I were Benny, as that would stop the Trick Room that's most likely coming down.
I think the thing is, it's like, at the very least, Arnie doesn't have to worry about anything, or Benny doesn't have to worry about this Amoonguss putting anything to sleep or more redirections. Because you know the Trick Room is coming, so you can be like, alright, he's probably going to switch that out. All I have to worry about, and setting up that Iron Defense really helps out a lot with any of the moves that will be going into that slot.
Yeah, the Iron Defense is really, really valuable, and that's what you get out of having that free turn when Arnie basically signals with the lead, I am going to do nothing but set Trick Room this first turn. It means that you do get that free Iron Defense, and we'll see. It feels like it will go one of two ways, and I mean, it feels obvious, but it will either be Calyrex runs over everything, Zamazenta just can't do enough, or Zamazenta, like, one-hit knockouts Calyrex or something and just gets a ton of damage in, and Arnie has to change something up in the early turns to not let this Iron Defense come up next game. Yeah,
I will say one of the tricky things that we do see a Protect from the Fluttermane, and this Zamazenta is going to take a Glacial Lance.
It's going to do like nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Which is really huge for Benny.
Oh yeah, it barely made it past his little team
barely
on the side.
Ooh, that's another
one.
I mean, it doesn't take any damage to Calyrex, and
like even this Iron Hand, like I can get super effective with that Drain Punch, but when it's like +3 right now.
I mean, the most concerning thing that Iron Hands can do right now is Fake Out.
Yeah. Which would go into the Zama, but at this point, it's already bulky enough. In theory, Benny could just Protect if he's that concerned.
Although I honestly don't think there's any need to be. And if you save that protect, Fluttermane is absolutely... Ooh,
Oh, it
Fluttermane takes that.
lived.
Fluttermane apparently takes that hit. Moonblast is going to be a nice little chunk onto Iron Hands as well. And now, if you're Benny, you can go for the double protect here, stall out another turn of Trick Room. Last turn of Trick Room, you will still get hit, but you're going to be in a pretty good spot.
I agree.
Or you can go for your attacks this turn and go for the double protect next turn, and that might have been part of the reason of keeping the protect. Either way, Calyrex has to switch out now.
I think the tough thing for Arnie with this one, he doesn't have any hard counters into that Zamazenta 2. Like, we don't have any fire types, and this Zamazenta is Terra Grass. We don't have any strong, like, like, he only has the Goldingo for, any special damage, which is one of the best ways to take down a Zamazenta.
For what it's worth, I think the Golden Go is really important because it doesn't take any damage against Zamazenta. Heavy Slam doesn't do much, and Body Press does nothing.
Alright, we're going to see a Volt Switch and takes out the Fluttermane. What is Arnie going to go into?
You've seen that Volt Switch as an adaptation on a lot more Iron Hands in the Resurgence Iron Hands era, which is really been good for a lot of this.
Yeah, I remember back in when it was first allowed in Reg B, it was like, you would do that on it. We're going to see another nasty plot right here. Body Press into the Moongus. It does half damage right now. Now the dimensions are twisted back to normal.
The big question here is, what does Benny have to take down this Chen Pao? That is pretty good. That is exactly what you would want to have to take down the Chen Pao. At this point, or excuse me, to take down the Golden Go.
Yeah.
Because now Golden Go is kind of trapped at this point. Like, it either eats Throat Chop, which does a bazillion damage to it, or it's because it's Terra Normal. The other option would be it eating a Body Press, which does not take.
Not great. Not great.
Like, the whole reason Golden Go is good in this situation is it's base typing, so it can't really Terra.
Yeah. Arnie is in a little predicament, and it's like you don't want to waste any of your boost and switch out. You don't want to also have anything take any damage to two very strong physical attacking Pokemon. Right now we're going to see the Rage Powder from a Moongus coming the center of attention, and Throat Trap will go in, knocking it out. But that's good at least where we're not going to see too much damage onto the Goldango here from that Zamazenta.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. We'll see how much Heavy Slam does. This could be important to like a later game. That is more than I would have expected.
Yeah.
It's not good damage, but it is still better than I would have expected.
Yeah.
And you can also, at this point, bring Iron Hands back in to take down the Chen Pao. So this is actually a pretty good spot for Arnie to be in.
Yeah.
Getting that hit off.
All right, yeah. I can see he is thinking about it. I think, that is probably the best choice. Or, maybe he does want to get Trick Room set back up.
It could either be a Trick Room or just go for a Glacial Lance to get the Chilling Nay up.
That could be it.
I don't know. It's an interesting spot to be in. We also don't know what the last Pokemon is for Benny, I believe.
All right, so what we have here is we got the Chien Pao, the Fluttermane, and the Zamazenta.
I think production, the production notes is that Rillaboom is the last one, but
okay. I can see Rillaboom makes a lot of sense here. Gets that priority. Also, that fake out, which is very important to pivot. And this Rillaboom is Terra Dragon, interestingly enough. All right, we are going to see the Terra Terrassalization. You see it here, and it is going to be on that Chien Pao. All right, so where is that Stellar move going to go into?
Yeah, this could be a pretty pivotal turn, actually.
Yeah, it's going to go into... Yeah, it's going to go in, and does it do? Not really that much.
Not a ton of damage, but I think that was decently played by Benny at this point, because the thing is, at any point in time, you still have the fastest Pokemon on the field. The problem here is that Chen Pao gets taken down by a fake out.
That is true. That is very much true.
Like, I think Arnie is in a better point than the stats that the Zamazenta has suggest.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot that you have to get done. And ideally, you probably want to get Trick Room set up again.
Ideally, yeah.
Even though you also still need to be attacking is the problem.
Thing is, Benny has to start targeting down that Calyrex because when Trick Room is up, granted, all right, we do see that Rillaboom in. Terra is used, so that's important. We do see Fake Out, and the thing is, it's like now Benny has Fake Out for his upcoming turn, and it's gonna go into the Calyrex most likely.
That was a really, really good play by Benny.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, by Arnie.
Going into the Zama.
Going into the Zama with the Fake Out. That was really, really good because Calyrex probably dropped to body press, like just straight up.
Yeah.
100 to 0 just dropped to body press. So, but at the same time, it also probably 100 to 0 dropped to throat chop. It at least would have gotten pretty close. So either way, you were basically picking, okay, one of these is going to switch out. Like if Chen Pao gets out of here, then I flinch Zamazenta and we're fine. And Iron Hands is switching out again to get another opportunity at that flinch pressure, but this is a good spot for Arnie to be in suddenly.
Yeah. Now that Chen Pao is so low too, you're not as worried about it when you have that Golden Go out, because also, you know, the Rillaboom's not going to do too much. Yeah, it's not going to do too much damage. What Arnie has to do right now is take care of that Chen Pao, and then this Golden Go can pretty much sweep up the game from there, because there's not going to be too much damage output on Benny's side.
Yeah, and I think at this point Arnie could feel pretty safe in terastallizing Calyrex.
Yeah, it is Terrifier, which
the main thing just to keep you not weak to Chen Pao, particularly like Sucker Punch, because you want to just start attacking at this point.
Yeah.
Like at this point, you want the opportunity to click like Glacial Lance, I think, and then like Shadow Ball Zamazenta or whatever you think the best damage against Zamazenta is. I think it's got to be Shadow Ball.
Shadow Ball makes the most sense, yeah. Because, you know, Make It Rain's not going to do too much, and then it just lowers your stuff anyway.
Yeah. This is a really weird spot for them both for the end. I understand why Arnie keeps switching around. It gets kind of disorienting, but I understand what the point is here.
Yeah. It's... Because you definitely... Oh, the Calyrex fails.
I'm intrigued by that choice. And Chen Pao went for the protect.
Alright, so where is Zama's attack going to go? It is going to go into that Calyrex, and you called it 100 to 0 real fast.
Yeah, I am intrigued by that choice. I don't really know why that was the... Why...
I think the thing is, like, maybe he was worried of, like,
I mean, at the very least, I understand, I guess trying to follow the plays forward, you use Glacial Lance or whatever and knock out the Chen Pao, but you don't knock out the Zamazenta, and nothing Iron Hands did that turn was going, or nothing Golden Go. Like, Golden Go Shadow Ball was probably not going to knock out Zamazenta, and so at that point, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Alright, we're going to see Fake Out into the Zama yet again. And then the Goldango is going to start setting up using that nasty plot.
Yeah.
Alright,
I don't know how many turns of Trick Room are left. I think it's got to be, what, 2 or 1?
2 or 1 at this point, yeah.
The problem here, at some point, you have to just hit Zamazenta as hard as possible, and even then you probably aren't able to pull this one out.
Yeah. Oh, it goes for the tech, and Arnie did double into it. The thing is, it's like, I'm pretty sure that this Rillaboom is probably... I think you take out the Iron Hands, because that's the thing that kind of, like, poses a threat to other... Yep, we're going to see that Wood Hammer into it. It lives on 5 HP. Means he will be able to at least get one more move off from it, or at least have a target attack into it. Which is going to be huge for Arnie.
It is valuable.
Yeah.
Although at the same time, I worry what it would even be able to accomplish at this point, especially into the plus, what, 5 Zamazenta, and the Trick Room just disappeared. Proxy Terrain also goes down, but
it does go down.
It means you have to attack it again at least.
Yeah, which, I mean, one less move on, bless you, One less move onto the Goldango means it's around to at least hit one more attack, or get hit by one more attack, and that could be very crucial. We're going to see the body press go into there.
Yeah, and I think that's fine for Benny, because Heavy Slam would have been what attacked the Golden Go, and that wouldn't do that much damage anyways. Like we saw it did an okay chunk, but not like a great chunk.
Yeah.
See how much Wood Hammer does. That's better than Heavy Slam would have done.
It was. And that's not in Grassy Surge either, which it did a little bit more than I thought it was going to do. All right, and yeah, it does look like this is going to go into Benny's favor, taking game 1.
Smart by Arnie there. Very weird smart tech there for Arnie is instead of hitting the Rillaboom there, you know you're already going to lose this game.
Yeah.
Instead of hitting the Rillaboom, you hit the Zamazenta, so you can see how much damage that does, because that could be an important calc for later in the series.
Very much so.
But in any case, Benny Vasquez, game number 1 victory. 1 away from the finals here.
Oh yeah,
we got championship points on the line. Early season championship points.
I mean, that's why you see, even though it was only 13 contestants coming here, because like, it was Benny. We only see 13 contestants, like especially with how championship points work for Worlds this time around. It's like you have to scrape, you have to get every opportunity you can to get those points, because spots are limited this time around.
And everyone wants to qualify, especially in this area.
Yeah.
It's just down in Anaheim this year.
It's only like, I don't know how far it is from here, but like...
From right here, it's probably like 30 minutes.
Exactly.
It's pretty close.
You know, you don't have to worry about a hotel, flight, or anything. You may want to stay with a friend that's close by.
Yeah,
but like, you know, all that adds up, especially if you're trying to go to these different regionals to try and, you know, get all these points, because a lot of people that can't afford to do that will afford to do that. And yeah, and granted, the payout for the challenges and cups aren't that much, but every point counts.
Yeah, every
point
point does count, and getting those points early on in the season, staking your claim at the beginning can always be nice.
You can always relax a little bit more. You can maybe experiment more.
Yeah, especially once you get into like Reg H, where it's like, okay, I got a little bit in the end of Reg G. Now I can experiment a tiny bit at the beginning of Reg H and still have plenty of time left to win some challenges and cups later on. In any case, game number 2 getting underway now. Arnie down 1-0.
What adjustments do we have to see from Arnie? I know we were talking about the point system, so I wasn't paying too much attention to
Me neither, so we'll both find out together.
Alright, so from Benny, we're going to see Ogerpon, Rillaboom, and then Goldango and Amoonguss. Alright, so I'm not sure if I am like in Arnie's position right now.
Yeah, not ideal to have those Pokemon in front of a fire type.
Yeah.
Especially one as strong as that Ogerpon Hearth Flame. And at this point, I don't know what you really do in this situation. Like, I think for Benny, and that's part of the thing about bringing Ogerpon Hearth Flame, is sometimes you see a situation, you're like, Terrafire, Ivy Cudgel, +1, figure out what you can do about it. Like, try me.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too. You don't want to waste your Terra too early in this game. Too, because like right now his back's against the wall. We are going to see the Ivy Cudgel into Iron Hands, does almost half damage. We're going to see that U-turn, brings it into the orange.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like what we saw from Arnie's team, and Benny can probably guess that Calyrex Ice is here.
Yeah.
So we know that that's the only actual resist to Ivy Cudgel on this team.
Exactly. All right, he's going to bring out the Zama, and what Arnie did was he did Pollen Puff into that slot, so that way, you know, it's not going to do it too full, but it is going to bring it.
Yeah, no, you do actually get a ton of HP back.
It is with the grassy terrain. It does bring it back to full health, so like just right at the point he wants to be at. But it's still a tricky position for Arnie right now, because, you know, it's like, what do you do against the Zama at this point in time?
Yeah. Well, that's a dangerous thing about the Ogerpon, where I think at this point, like, oh, actually, I can click Follow Me right now for free.
Yeah.
Zamazenta can protect. I would have liked to Follow Me there, because there's nothing really threatening you.
Yeah.
It is the okay. It's just a double protect on the fake out turn, which is fine, I think.
I agree. You also get to scope out what is this Amoonguss going to do as well. Is it going to swap out? Is it going to do this? Is it going to spore? I think definitely now you follow me because like what else is the Amoonguss going to really do?
Yeah, I mean Amoonguss. I think Pollen Puff is actually the highest damage that Arnie has into this Ogerpon slot on the field right now.
Yeah.
And so you can follow me. You can put that Iron Defense.
Can start setting up right now.
And suddenly get in the situation where, oh yeah, that is a scary Zamazenta again, and get in that situation again for you. And even then, if you then try to focus down Zamazenta too much, like this Ogerpon's still around and it still has the Ivy Cudgel. If you if you stop thinking for 2 seconds, then you get Ivy Cudgeled.
That's one of the great parts about like Ogerpon. No matter what form it is, it has that redirection, and it also has that power as well. So it's like sometimes it is a guessing game of what the Ogerpon is going to do in that moment.
There's the follow me Iron Defense.
Yep. He is making sure he gets that. We are going to see the Bolt switch out.
I do like that choice.
I think it's important right now because Arnie's board state needs like an edge somewhere here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tough thing is the
problem here is that even if you bring out the Calyrex, I guess you're getting close to the point where you just have to Terra your Calyrex.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just get hit by an Ivy Cudgel.
Yeah, I'm not seeing... I think that's just like a thing about Arnie's team. It's like this Ogerpon Heartflame is pretty good into most of his Pokemon, or at the very least does like neutral, as long as it does to most of it. I mean, if he Terra to that Calyrex into the fire, that would be a good counter, but that could open him up into some other problems down the road. I don't think as much problems as if it was like water or something like that, because, you know, I feel like with the body press, it's doing somewhat similar damage regardless. And then with the heavy slam, it would resist it, but you know, like you don't want to do heavy slam into this. You want to get that defense up so you can body press into whatever you please.
Yeah, and that was a pretty ideal turn for Arnie, actually, because now you do basically get to... Like, you do get a free Trick Room up, basically, this turn now, because of that hard switch out on the Amoonguss, and that was a pretty clever workaround there, and the fact that it was actually a double into the Calyrex meant that Zamazenta didn't even get anything more out of that turn, so...
That was not... Yeah, and then
potential that turn,
it definitely
could turn things around pretty significantly.
It does, because now he can get that stuff up. He can get the Terra off. It doesn't seem like he's going to be able to, or it doesn't seem like we are going to see the Ogerpon switch out into the Rillaboom yet again. The one tricky thing about the Rillaboom, other than fake out, like now that this Calyrex is going to be Terrifier, I'm not seeing too much things that it can really do to it heavy damage-wise, because even with Grassy Terrain up, Wood Hammer's not going to do too much. Grassy Glide, U-turn, minuscule damage.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you do get Fake Out at least, but that's not saying a ton.
No.
Trick Room does get to go up. Zamazenta flinched off of the Fake Out, so very good turn for Arnie.
Yeah.
The question is, I mean, in the last game, Arnie did not get much out of Trick Room.
Yeah.
Can Arnie get anything out of Trick Room this time?
That's the hope. I mean, Arnie's very, very familiar with this team. He's also someone where he's been playing for a while. It's just trying to get that board state. I feel like this is good, but now like you're on a timer with how many Trick Room turns are left. And wait, Grassy Terrain is off right now, right?
Correct. It just went off.
All right. Yeah, because I know damage output-wise, his best bet is the Goldango for this Zamazenta. So he has to get that out there. Yeah. It's going to be a very switchy match. Like, last match was pretty switch-heavy. This one is definitely going to be... because each trainer wants that right board state. Are we going to see Protect? right here for that fake out. Yep. And then what is the Zama? I would guess like probably Iron Defense because it's going to be pretty tough. Oh, we are going to see a body press.
I think body press makes the most sense, even though like you don't get a lot out of it, but it's a difficult spot for Benny to be in right now. It's not a losing spot necessarily,
Not at all.
but it is a difficult spot.
Yeah.
At least in like the near term, like next couple of turns term.
I think the scary thing is it's like I can see this Zama wanting to set up more. I mean, this body press at this point is going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I don't think you have to set up more. I don't think you're in danger if you don't, and I don't think that you don't have enough damage if you don't.
Yeah,
Calyrex I think Calyrex is forced out by body press at this point in time, which is pretty good. But the question is, like, what can you do against Golden Go? And that's a good U-turn, because now you get to pivot back into Ogre Pawn if you want to.
That's probably the best stop.
To threaten that Golden Go again.
Yeah.
So.
Friend the Golden Go, Goldango, friend the Amoonguss. And now that Calyrex is out of the field, we are going to see a nasty plot. Raising that special attack.
And the problem is, even the nasty plot Golden Go just doesn't do that much damage.
Yeah.
Like especially to Zamazenta. Like, the problem for Arnie is, like, just getting damage down on the Zamazenta, and I don't see it in a lot of places.
Yeah, I will say, like...
Although you do have the Spore opportunity, but...
It is.
That's why you get to follow me now.
Yeah. But we are going to see that Spore go into that slot.
That was a really good play for Benny, because now you get to take down the Amoonguss.
Yeah.
You get to... Ooh. Ogre Pawn does barely take the Shadow Ball, though. But it does take the Shadow Ball, and now, so you get the Amoonguss out of the way, no more Spore that you have to worry about. That is one of Arnie's best outs to Zamazenta, and that is no longer on the board.
Yes.
I don't know if Trick Room is down this turn or next turn, but if it's down next turn, then you can double protect this turn and be fine.
Next turn.
And in that case, you can double protect and then just start hitting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just, when we talked about, it's that damage output for Arnie. And I mean, both trainers are being patient right now, waiting for those right opportunities. I can see the Ogre Pawn, like, spiky shielding here. And then, you know, Zama going for something. Or I can see both of them protecting and then going for a follow me at the end, because then the Trick Room will be reversed. And then, you know, then you're, and Arnie's thing is like, do you set it back up, you try to do damage, and then, you know, each time you're trying to do for setup could be a turn you could be using to attack.
I like this play, even though you just got the nasty plot set up, switching out again, because now it puts you in a situation where you can fake out again. Is the spiky shield Zamazenta attack? No, it went for the protect.
But it failed.
But it failed.
Oh, it was this turn.
So yeah, it was the last turn of Trick Room. So this is a weird spot, because now, it is a good spot for Arnie, at least in this moment, because you can stop the Zamazenta from doing anything and get Trick Room back up. Not that Trick Room has necessarily defined this game to a serious degree, especially given that Zamazenta doesn't take damage.
Yeah.
Like, the big question is, can Benny keep something around that deals with Golden Go? Because I think Golden Go is the only thing that can take down Zamazenta. And then the question 1B below that is, can Golden Go actually beat Zamazenta, or is it just like kind of a soft check for Zamazenta where something else deals with it? Because neither of these Pokemon can deal with Zamazenta, that's for sure.
No. All right, we are going to see
at least take a while.
Yeah, we are going to see Benny preserve that Ogre Pawn for later. The Rillaboom does come out.
And I like this choice because now you get the fake out pressure onto the Calyrex next turn.
You do. And then, Trick Room goes up.
Yeah. And I mean, we've gotten in this loop before.
Yeah.
But in the previous iteration of the loop, Amoonguss was around, and Amoonguss was able to come in and threaten Spore, and now that it can't do that, it's a lot more difficult for Arnie to play in this.
Yeah. He's going straight for the I guess, like, in the sense of, like...
Especially because at the end of the day, Rillaboom is also at pretty high HP.
Yeah.
And Woodhammer doesn't do great damage, but it does do damage. It's not a bad move in this spot.
Not at all, especially when you have that Grassy Surge up. So he goes into the Goldango there because I feel like the Protect on the Calyrex is pretty, I wouldn't say predictable, but like likely. And so like you don't want to have a Bolter. What is this?
That is insane, actually. Predicting, I don't even know what.
I think...
Basically predicting whatever Protect, Switch, shenanigans, whatever, and forcing yourself out into... I didn't even realize that Chen Pao is still available as an option.
Yeah, he hasn't...
My goodness.
It hasn't really came out this this game yet.
That's really... That's a really clever little piece of tech for Benny, especially because you know Zamazenta is going to heal it off. It does not take any damage, so you get the guaranteed U-turn because you know you're not going to protect. You don't have to worry about who's going to protect or who's attacking or who's where. Like... Just get on out of there and you're fine.
Yeah.
I think you could have done it into the Iron Hand slot and been fine.
Yeah, because it either switches out, and I mean, it was going to do minuscule damage.
It was going to do
or.
basically no damage anyways, but either way, you now get your Chen Pao in. Goldengo has to switch out again.
Yeah.
But at some point, like, the Protect is now down for Calyrex. This is a no Protect turn for Calyrex. No coverage, no nothing. Sucker Punch from Chen Pao, not going to do anything. You get the Glacial Lance off, but that does less than half to both of these.
Yeah.
Even Chen Pao takes that pretty well.
We're going to see that finally. Press. Calyrex goes down, and then at this point...
That's a ring the bell moment. That Calyrex is out of here, and finally, Benny has broken this game open. I think for good.
Yeah, I mean, like, because what can you do? Like, Champo is the big answer into that Goldango. Even if it Terras at the... Well, it can Terra, so, like, there's not really too much. There's two things up, 2 turns of Trick Room left.
Well, and even
there's
if
not really...
Yeah, and the thing is, even if you get rid of the Chen Pao, the Ogre Pawn on very little HP can still switch back in and get the Ivy Cudgel off, and that would be definitely it.
Yeah.
But I think this is an easy double protect turn. You don't have to. I was going to say, it seems like an easy double protect turn for Benny, but... You also don't necessarily have to do that, because you're in a pretty winning spot right now.
Yeah,
Nasty Plot does go up.
Yeah.
Can't get too complacent. Goldengo still does a ton of damage.
Yeah.
But Body Press on the Iron Hands.
And gone.
That's a lot of damage. I was impressed by it doing that to the Calyrex, but that is a lot of damage to do to Iron Hands.
Very much so, because that HP, especially because you don't necessarily have to... I've seen plenty of people just do 252 HP, 252 attack, maybe 4 in special defense.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's like a simple thing that a lot of people do now. I mean, like, we're very deep into Scarlet and Violet, so I'm pretty sure there's, like, other things you can slide there, but that HP stat is no joke.
I think this is actually the tiniest misplay of all time by Arnie. I think he should have gone for another Nasty Plot.
Yeah.
Knowing that this was going to be a double protect turn. Instead went for the Shadow Ball into Zamazenta. I don't think that's an insane thing to do, but I think that it actually would have been ideal to go for another Nasty Plot, knowing that that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And trying to get a little bit more damage down. Because at the end of the day, Goldengo is still going to struggle with Zamazenta.
Yes.
And finally, we're going to see the Terra. It's going to be the Terra Fire Ogre Pawn Hard Flame to just boost up that damage just a little bit more.
Yep, that Terra Fire is terrifying to that Goldango.
That's for sure. And I think that's going to pick up the knockout when it does get to hit. This is a protect turn for Goldengo, but I think it's going to end this one when Benny is able to.
Yeah, there's not really too much Arnie can do, because he has to get through three Pokemon, 2 of which are, I think, at, like, if not full health, pretty close to full health.
Yeah, I think Rillaboom is basically at full.
Yeah, and Arnie's going for the double protect. It doesn't go through. That is GG's, and Benny will be moving on to our finals.
Yes, indeed. Once we get to see the official Ivy Cudgel getting the job done.
Do we get a crit just for the crowd?
Crit for the fans?
Crit for the fans.
No,
No.
credit. Benny Vasquez, 2-0 victory. Very well played altogether. And you don't usually see a lot of those very slow, balancy games played in Reg G in that kind of way,
Yeah.
especially not with those kinds of Pokemon. But the Iron Defense Zamazenta playing against the Ice Rider, usually don't see it slow down that much, but it really ended up just kind of slowing things down. And I think that Benny just did a good job of making sure that he kind of always had the right answer and was always slowly cracking things open. Like, as I mentioned, they had gotten into a loop of Trick Rooms.
Yeah.
But eventually Amoonguss wasn't there, which meant that Spore wasn't an option, which meant Ogerpon didn't need to be on the field, which meant that Zamazenta could just click Body Press for free, or Rillaboom could come in and have the Fake Out pressure down while Zamazenta was doing Body Press.
And that's the important thing about these loops. It's like the loops can go on for a while, but it's like, what kind of damage are you doing while the loop is happening, and whose damage output is better? Because even if it's slow, even if it's very, chipping away, it does add up over time, especially if it's a long-term game.
Yep. We're going to take a super quick break, and then we'll be back for finals. It'll be Josh Denk versus Benny Vasquez. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned.